Planet Vero Studio is powered by the Nolan Group of eXp Realty. MyNextHomeFinder.com. Cindy Grossman. New York City born and raised, luxury retail management was her game. Saks Fifth Avenue and Nordstrom were her jewelry playgrounds. Had enough at 38, fled to Miami, where Neiman Marcus Bal Harbour found her. Recruited to Mont Blanc, where her regional position challenged her. Met her husband 4 years ago, and Brevard County she did go. COVID hit, she needed a new career fit. Age-defying beauty with Mary Kay, she did say. And now, here's Cindy Grossman.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Mesmerize the Mirror at Any Age. Thank you, Mitch, for coming back for another time.
Yet again. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse, for keeping us in line, as always. This week we have an interesting guest. I'm really happy to bring her on. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Mary C. Owens is a life transition expert, clinical social worker, and professional speaker. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and master's of social work degree with a concentration in mental health, and is certified life coach. Mary's passion is helping women, sorry fellas, who are faced with a life transition, such as divorce, midlife crisis, yes, I learned women have those too, or career change. Mary coaches them to manage all their emotions and overwhelm that come with the change and develop a positive mindset so they can move on to the next chapter of their life. So I'm excited to have Mary on because I think a lot of women out there have been going through this. So I have some good questions. Mary, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Steve, for having me. I'm very honored to be speaking with all of you tonight.
Sounds great. And our listeners should know, the ones who watch us on live stream, we have our headphones on because Mary is a call-in. So when we don't have somebody live in the studio, we do a call-in, which I'm grateful for because she's further down south in Florida than we are. So
thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to get right into it. Why did you pursue life transition? Why did you become that type of coach? Because you were working as a psychologist and you made this big change.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wasn't not a psychologist. I was a clinical social worker working in the field of psychology.
Okay.
And no, that's okay. A lot of people make that mistake. And I had kind of gotten burned out a little bit with the hardcore clinical work, with working with people suffering from major mental illness and substance abuse. And the facility I was working at went under, and I took some time to kind of think about what I wanted to do in the next chapter. And someone I knew was a coach, and she said, you ought to try coaching. And so I investigated it. I went and thought, this is kind of interesting because the perspective of a coach is different than a therapist. With therapy, you spend a lot of time working in the past where you're dealing with a lot of unresolved trauma, things that are really blocking you from functioning. With coaching, it's more of a positive psychology approach rather than an abnormal psychology approach where I don't think that there's anything inherently my clients are not suffering from a major illness, and they're just stuck. And the focus is really, where are you today and where you want to get in the future. And when I was taking my certification course, they said, okay, well, who do you want to work with? And I thought, I can work with anyone if I've got the right skills. And they said, yeah, probably true. However, for marketing purposes, you really do kind of need your niche. So I reflected back on when several years earlier I was divorced, and everyone thought I needed to go into therapy, and I didn't really think I needed therapy. I kind of knew what went wrong in my marriage, but I was just kind of lost. Mm. And thinking back, I thought, I could have used a coach back then. to kind of help me navigate the changes that were normal changes that every person who's going through a divorce goes through. And I think I could have saved myself from making some, mistakes, and it could have been a gentler ride through the transition. So that's how I decided to specialize in life transition coaching.
Right. So from your own experiences, that's excellent. I can understand that. Mm-hmm. And you talk about a midlife crisis for women. How do you identify that?
Well, what happens in normal, in the normal stages of development, we all go through different stages of development. And I think all of us hit a time, usually in midlife, and they're, thankfully, they keep pushing up the years of midlife. It used to be 40s, and now they're saying, no, 50s are midlife. I'm like, okay, yay, that's great. But you hit a point in your life where you've worked really hard, you've built a career, you've built a family, and you kind of are looking in the future, and maybe for the first time in your life, you're seeing where you're not going to live forever. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people do some self-review. And, I'm trying to steer clear, although I know it was in my marketing materials, of it being a crisis. It's really a midlife angst, mm-hmm. where you look at your life and think, wow, I hear a lot of women say, there must be something more. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. I've gotten a career. I've built it. I've built a family. My kids are now, approaching college. And I don't really know what I want to do with the rest of my life. I want to make some changes. And so I think that's actually very encouraging, because I do think that we go through different chapters and phases in our life. And it really is an opportunity to take an honest look at yourself and say, okay, yeah, I've got 20, 30, maybe even 40 years with a lifespan now. Is this really how I want to be living my life? So that's kind of how I view the midlife crisis or the midlife angst.
Mm-hmm. For women, is there an issue with empty nest syndrome? Does that enter into some of their angst?
Yes. Particularly for women who were, stay-at-home moms. A lot of the women I've worked with started out as career women, and then they had kids and they decided they wanted to stay home and raise their children. And that became their whole life and their whole identity. And then once the kids leave home, it's now what am I doing? How do I define myself? So yes, and for the first time in 20, 22 years, they can think about themselves. They don't have to put the kids first. They can think, wow, okay, this is my time. What do I want to do?
Right. What do you see as the biggest struggle that your clients go through?
I think it's fear. Change is scary because, we as humans, we like to feel familiar. We like to be comfortable, right? So when you're talking about making changes, you're changing up your routine. You don't know what the rules are going to be, and that can be scary. So that's why a lot of times people resist change, is that their fears of what could be override their feelings of, dissatisfaction currently. And in my talk and in my book, I say that, until the pain of staying in your current situation is greater than your fears of the future and the unknown, most people don't change. It just gets too comfortable.
Right. Yeah, we are flashing the name of your book, Embracing Change by Mary C. Owens. We're flashing that on the screen, which I don't know, you probably can't see it. So we want people to know that there is a great book out there to help people and, start the transition, so to say. What about human behavior fascinates you?
What about human? That's a great question. I just always what fascinates me is what makes people tick. What creates an individual who is behaving in a certain way. What contributes, started off, again, being more in the clinical mindset is why do some people develop phobias? Why do some people develop anxiety? Why do people develop depression? But it kind of goes even further is just kind of, what makes people tick? And with coaching and positive psychology rather than abnormal psychology, is positive psychology saying they're really looking at not just what makes people tick, but what makes people really thrive and really succeed, and versus just living. So they're kind of looking at it from that perspective, which is very, very exciting.
Right. Yes. Good point there. We're going to stop for a moment there. We're going to take a break, and we will come right back with Mary C. Owens to learn how to transition the right way. Thank you.
Why hire Cantwell and Goldman? At Cantwell and Goldman, PA, we take pride in what we do. That pride translates into better client service and better client results. At Cantwell and Goldman, PA, we provide high-quality legal solutions for individuals and businesses in Indian River and Brevard counties and throughout the state of Florida. Our experienced attorneys can help you with a range of legal issues, from defending a criminal charge, assistance with a commercial or residential closing, business transaction, or estate planning and probate matters. We are a full-service law firm specializing in estate planning, including trust and estates, as well as commercial and residential real estate and corporate matters throughout the state of Florida. Cantwell and Goldman, PA.
At Compass Pest Control, we focus on killing pests where they live and breed by terminating them outside your home or office before they can get in. Hi, I'm Chris Hudman, co-owner of Compass Pest Control. We prevent roaches, ants, and other pests from getting inside with a proactive approach. We don't stop there. We also offer lawn and plant health programs, and we'll never sell you something you don't need. At Compass Pest Control, our prices are competitive, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Get a free estimate. Visit compasspests.com.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, loveseats, and chairs, including lots of slipcover styles from Universal, Four Seasons, and Capri. We have a gallery of Tommy Bahama and Lexington with styles designed for a relaxed approach to the finer things in life. Right now, we're having a summer sale with lots of great markdowns, including all pictures, lamps, and accessories half price. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in Vero Beach, next to Planet Fitness. Family owned and operated since 1991. Don't forget to visit our outlet and closeout store directly across the street, and visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Ooh, how is sunshine? Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Ooh, how is sunshine? Sunshine.
It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
Need an enlightening pick-me-up? Visit Kristen and Cindy at Skinergy, 599 Sherwood Avenue, Unit 110 in Satellite Beach, to energize your skin and keep it looking fabulous forever. Kristen can help with hair removal sugaring to keep your whole body smooth and conditioned. Kristen will help you refresh and defend your skin while giving you a customized facial. Cindy helps skinergize and get you camera ready for your everyday look or occasions event. Visit Kristen and Cindy at Skinergy at 599 Sherwood Avenue, Unit 110 in Satellite Beach.
And we are back with Mary C. Owens, life transition coach. Now, we ended it by talking about different things, but one thing, Mary, maybe you could give one piece of advice how people can handle stress and feeling overwhelmed.
Yes, that's really important. And I think, in addition to, doing the routine things of, getting enough sleep, exercise, eating a healthy diet that's, that doesn't have a whole lot of the complex carbohydrates. You don't want a lot of coffee or nicotine, things that are going to amp you up, because that's just going to make you more anxious. What I'm seeing, though, is really it's about being present and stopping the mind from going where the mind likes to go. A lot of times when we're under stress, our mind will either take us to the past, and we're thinking about all the things that we should have done and the guilt and things, and that's what we oftentimes leads to at least symptoms of depression, or we are projecting into the future about all the horrible things that we think could happen, and that's where you get the anxiety and fear, versus, staying in the present. And you can do that simply by breathing. There's a lot of great work out there on breathing techniques that actually help you to calm your body physiologically down, but also to quiet the mind. And it really can be that simple. And it's simple, but it's not easy to do that, because, our minds can be our worst enemies. But I think if you can focus on, where you're at today, focusing on the gratitude that you have every day, simple things, being grateful that I have a car, that I can drive to the gym. Wow, I'm grateful that I have a gym membership. I'm grateful that, it can be very, very simple things to get your mind out of the doom and gloom of either the past or the future, rather.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
I was
please.
going to ask, I want to talk a little bit more about fear. I've been practicing as an attorney. I don't know why we always call it practicing. Eventually I get it right. But, I've been an attorney for almost 40 years.
Wow.
And the way I think about it is, even though I know in the back truly that clients will keep coming, fortunately they have, in the back of my head, I still say, geez, is the phone going to ring? What do I need to do to develop the practice to make it better, to deliver better service? So, and I look at the fear of clients not calling in or not coming forward as a motivation. I'm not overwhelmed, because I know that that's not going to happen, shouldn't happen. I wouldn't anticipate that, but it motivates me somewhat.
Yeah, no, you touch upon a really important aspect of fear, is that actually it's called the Yerkes-Dodson Law, and I talk about it in my book.
I like law. That's good. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, and in the area of psychology, there are very few laws. So this is something that's been tested time and time again and has proven to be legitimate. And they looked at people's level of performance and their level of arousal. So if you want to call that stress or anxiety. And they found that a moderate amount of stress or fear, physiological and mental arousal, actually produces optimal performance. I think we all know that if it's too high and you go into that panicked and overwhelmed stage, that can be, numbing and paralyzing. But what a lot of people also don't realize is that if you don't have enough arousal, you can get really lazy and bored and have kind of like I really couldn't care less if clients are calling me or not. So the key is to manage your emotions and fears so that you stay in that sweet spot and use it to motivate you. And I just started reading a book where they're rethinking the whole thing of stress. And what they're finding out now is that there is that positive stress versus the negative stress, which the negative stress is like the fight or flight response, where we really believe that we're going to die, right? And we go into that fight or flight response. And, that's kind of archaic, because in this day and age, very rarely are we in a situation that is truly life-threatening? And what they're finding is people have healthy stress, and the research is showing that their blood work and their labs are totally different, and that when you have a healthy stress, your body secretes different types of hormones that are actually healthy.
Wow.
Versus everyone automatically thinks that, oh, if you're under stress, the hormones are going to be bad for you. And they're saying, well, not necessarily, because depending on if it's the positive stress versus the negative stress, your body secretes totally different hormones, which is truly, and they're showing that the lab work to show the difference, which I think is fascinating.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, you feel like you're in the zone. The work goes very smoothly. Time goes by so quickly. You feel like you get a lot accomplished when you're in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're a baseball player, the ball looks really big, coming at you. So that's.
Oh, yeah. I tell my clients, it's like, watching the Olympics, the swimmers or the gymnasts, when they're getting ready to perform, they're not laid back.
Right.
Thinking like whatever. You can see the focus, you can see the determination, and they're amped, and they know how to transfer that into performance. But all of us in everyday life can do that.
Right. How do you think one can recognize they need a change, a life change?
I think it has a lot to do with general, life satisfaction. I hear a lot from my clients, and, I've experienced myself too, where it's just like, I feel like I'm the hamster on the wheel. Mm-hmm. I'm running, but I'm not going anywhere. Or, I'm just not looking forward or finding much pleasure in the areas of my life. Mm-hmm. Outside of a legitimate depression, where it could be, something chemical, to me, this is signs that, okay, some of your needs are not being filled, and what are those needs? So, then that's, okay, what needs are not being filled? What are some things that I like to be doing and I'm not doing? And then you get to make the change.
That's for sure. Yes. We're coming down to the end, but I want people to know how to reach out to you. So please let us know, and let us know how we can order the book as well.
Okay. Well, you can order the book. It's on Amazon, and the title is Embracing Change, How to Face Your Fears and Start Taking Action. And you can email me at mary@marycowens.com. Or if you're interested in a complimentary session, I do those a lot. You can also call me at 561-414-7029. I do have a website, but it's a couple years old, so it's going under a lot of maintenance. But that's www.marycowens.com. But I'll be making updates within the next month. So
okay,
the information on there isn't totally accurate.
Perfect. And I have to tell the listeners that one call will do wonders, because it opens up your mind to what you might not see going on in your life. I know we had that call, and it was like, wow, mm-hmm. It's really a question and answer, but you get to the bottom of the problem immediately. That's for sure. Now, I just we have maybe 1 minute left, so I'm going to do this quickly. If you did not choose your career, what do you think you would have been doing?
I would be a documentary filmmaker.
Oh, nice.
Because again, I would go and I would be studying people all over the world and their cultures and their habits, and I would be educating the world on all the amazing people out there and what they do in their life.
Amazing. That sounds great. Thank you so much, Mary, for being on.
Thank you so very much.
It's
been my honor and pleasure.
Oh,
okay.
our pleasure and our honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.